Greetings, curious souls and seekers of the strange. A particularly warm welcome to those who have yet to walk through this door. Welcome to number 11, your gateway to the forgotten and unseen, where every letter opens a door to the unknown. In the shadowy corners of our world, beyond the veil of everyday life, lies a realm of macabre mysteries and supernatural encounters. Here at number 11, we share first-hand accounts of the spine-chilling and the otherworldly, penned by those who have bravely stepped into the darkness and returned to tell their tales. Today, we delve into another chilling narrative sent to us from the cusp of the unexplained. Join me as we unravel the unsettling story that lies within. Dear number 11, I won't beat around the bush. I think I'd benefit if I just write this all quickly. I'll start with a little background about me. I've always been a skeptic, a firm believer that everything has a logical explanation. Ghosts, spirits, and all those supernatural things were just stories people told to scare each other or sell books. But that was before it happened to me, before I was forced to question everything I thought I knew. I live alone in a small, damp, and overpriced flat in Newcastle. The building is old, a relic from the Victorian era. There are creaky floorboards and drafty windows. It's the kind of place that seems to whisper secrets of the past when the wind blows just right, if you're into that kind of thing. I moved here for the quiet, though, for the isolation. What I didn't expect was to encounter something that would shatter my peace. It started on a cold night in late November a few years back. The days were getting shorter and the nights longer and colder, though it's always cold in the northeast. I remember climbing into bed, pulling the thick duvet over me to ward off the chill. I drifted off to sleep almost immediately, but it wasn't long before I woke up feeling an odd sensation that caused me to panic. I couldn't move. My eyes were open, but my body was paralyzed. At first, I thought it was just a bad dream. I had heard of sleep paralysis before, a harmless condition where you wake up but can't move. But this felt different. There was a weight on my chest, as if something unseen was pressing down on me, making it hard to breathe. Then I saw it. In the corner of my room, where the shadows were deepest, something moved. A figure, tall and gaunt, with eyes that glowed a soft but menacing white. I could feel the hairs on my arms stand up. It stood there, watching me, its presence filling the room with an icy dread. And I felt my skin tighten and a shiver rush through me. I wanted to scream, to thrash my arms about, to do anything to break free. But I was utterly powerless. This thing, began to move towards me. Its movements slow and deliberate, as if savoring my fear. I just felt that it was pleased I couldn't move. I don't know how to explain it. It stopped at the foot of my bed, and I could feel its gaze boring into me. What I remember the most is that it seemed to suck the warmth from the air. I could hear it breathing, a raspy, guttural sound that made my skin crawl. I wanted to shout, but my mouth wouldn't open, like my voice was trapped in my throat. The figure leaned over me, its face inches from mine, which was impossible from where it was stood, but I swear it just elongated over the bed. Its breath was foul. I remember the smell of rot or decay and something far worse. Then it touched me, like physically it touched me. I could feel its cold, clammy fingers brush against my cheek, and I wanted to cry, to scream, but I was stuck in that nightmarish state, trapped and honestly terrified. Then, as suddenly as it appeared, the figure vanished. The weight lifted and I could move again. I sat up, gasping for air, my heart pounding in my chest. I looked around, half expecting to see it lurking in the shadows, but the room was empty. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night, too afraid of what might come back if I closed my eyes. I tried to convince myself it was just a hallucination, a trick of the mind brought on by stress or fatigue. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. The next few nights were uneventful, and I started to relax, to think maybe it was just a one-time occurrence. But then it happened again, and again. Each time the figure would return, standing in the shadows, watching me with those dreadful eyes. It never spoke, never made a sound apart from its labored breathing. but its presence was enough to fill me with an overwhelming sense of dread and utterly powerless. I tried everything to stop it. I slept with the lights on, moved my bed to different parts of the room, even started sleeping on the couch in the living room. But it always found me, it always came back. One night I decided I had had enough. I stayed up, determined to confront whatever it was that haunted me. Midnight came, and I felt the familiar heaviness in the air. The room grew colder, and I knew it was here. I couldn't see it though, my eyes fixing into every corner of the room for what felt like hours. I forced myself to stay awake, to keep my eyes open. Then, without any warning or noise, I saw it. The figure emerged from the shadows as if it materialized from thin air. And it walked. Again, it didn't stop at the foot of my bed. It came closer, its eyes burning into mine with a hatred so intense I could feel it. I could move, but I was paralyzed with fear. The figure reached out slowly, its hand closing around my throat. I felt a searing pain, as if its touch was burning me from the inside out. I wanted to scream, to fight back, but I was frozen. The last thing I remember was its face, inches from mine, a grotesque parody of a human visage, twisted with malice and cruelty. Then everything went black. I woke up the next morning, lying on the floor beside my bed. My throat was sore, and I could see faint bruise-like marks where its fingers had gripped me. I knew then that it was real, that whatever it wasn't just a figment of my imagination. There was no one I could really talk to about this, and so I do get a feeling of release just penning this letter to you at number 11. I have since left that flat, abandoning everything that might have any connection to those harrowing events. I've heard whispers that objects can harbour sinister ties, but I lack the expertise to truly understand. It didn't matter where I ended up, as long as it was far, far away from that cursed place. Hope is almost a distant memory, overshadowed by this unshakable dread. I didn't care where I went. Sometimes, even now, I can still feel its eyes on me, and it brings a feeling of nausea that's hard to control. If anyone out there can help me or has even been through this before, I would really appreciate any advice. Thank you for letting me get this out. I appreciate everything you are trying to do for those of us who might feel alone in this. Wow, that was intense. I have no words at all. We have once again reached the end of a truly terrifying encounter, and this time I am left speechless. I would eagerly invite you to offer any suggestions to our brave writer for tonight's letter. You can do so by sharing your thoughts and experiences in the comments below or drop us an email. You'll find the address on the channel's page. You can also send any of your own experiences to that same address, and who knows? Perhaps we could help get your story out to other seekers of the unexplained and curious souls. I'd like to personally thank you for joining us here at number 11 for this spine-tingling tale, particularly if this is your first visit. Remember, the shadows hold more than just darkness. They hide secrets waiting to be told. If you have enjoyed tonight's encounter and you have not done so already, please press the like button. This will help others find what we hope to become a large and supportive community of like-minded individuals. And please consider subscribing. Until next we meet, keep your eyes open and remember, when the lights dim and the shadows lengthen, don't look away. You never know what might be staring back at you. Good night and farewell.